First off, thanks all for joining the SenseAnywhere training video. As you might tell, this is the first time we've done this, so apologies for the technical issues right at the very start. So yes, some of you are already familiar with the SenseAnywhere system, and some of you aren't. This might be the first time you're running through, so apologies to those who have used the system before and are familiar with it. I'm just going to run through the basics at the very start, and then if there are any kind of questions or anything you need to know about the system that's a bit more technical, don't hesitate to drop a message or even to get in touch with us over the phone to run through the more kind of serious aspects of, or the more kind of technologically advanced aspects of the SenseAnywhere system. So first things first, for those who have never heard of the SenseAnywhere system or you've only just got it installed, the best way to explain it would be it's a live monitoring system that monitors temperature, humidity, CO2, pressure, and various other things. I think everyone on this call is either temperature or humidity. It will send out alarm notifications should there be an excursion, and you can also set up daily, weekly, or monthly reports if they're to be that could be sent out to as many people within your organisation. So first things first, if you wanted to register a device, what you'd do would be hover over to the management sign. So you can see over here you've got overview, alarm, management, and bar. Hover over management, go to register device, and then you'd be inputting a serial number of the logger in this bar here. Now most of the loggers start with 100E, but basically after every 2 digits they're stopped with a hyphen, so 2 dots. You don't need to input those as long as it's the numbers put in there, and then hit register. It will take one of the credits that are already on your account, and then that would register your device. Once that's been done, you can do that with sensors, PT100 probes, even the 4 to 20 milliamp connectors, or the access points. So everything in terms of registering device is done from this screen, which is management and then register device. Once that's been done, you'll want to see where the sensors have gone or where the access points have gone. To do that, for the sensors, it'll be management and then sensor. And then on this screen, you'll be able to change the name of each sensor. So if they were to just be inputted from that screen that I've just showed you before, you'll see it as this, which is just the serial number of the sensor. Now, if you wanted to change that to a more user-friendly name, like Fridge 1, Freezer 2, etc., pencil icon on the right-hand side, click that, delete whatever the serial number is, and type in Fridge 1, whatever you want it to be, and then hit save at the bottom. Make sure you never hit deactivate unless you know that you do want to deactivate the logger. Effectively, if you were to deactivate it, the credit that you'd use to put the sensor online would be kaput. It'd be completely stricken off. You'd need to purchase another credit for that to be added onto it again. And plus, if you were to deactivate that today and then 24 hours realise, oh yeah, I shouldn't have done that, I need to reactivate it, those 24 hours that have passed, the data will be completely gone. So be sure that if you want a continuous chain, you don't want to break the chain as it were, make sure you don't hit deactivate. Cool. So I'm not going to hit save now because, as I said, this is just Withnell Sensors account and I don't want to be changing anything that I shouldn't. So I'm going to go back to management and then hit sensor. And then once you've hit saved at the bottom, that will change from the serial number to the thing that you've just changed it to. The same can be done with access points. So what you've got here is just all our sensors. If you wanted to find out where the access points are, management, access point, the exact same thing can be done here. So you've got our calibration access points here. Same thing can be done. Change the name of it with the pencil icon on the right-hand side. There are various other things that people might have. I know a lot of you on the call don't have them right now, but a few of you will have the PT100 probes. Now, these are to measure the temperatures between -200 and +200 degrees C, whereas the sensors themselves only have an operating range of -40 to +70. So to see the PT100 probes, you can see at the bottom, manage external modules. And then the same thing can be done here. So a lot of these are PT100 probes or even the 4 to 20 milliamp connectors that measure carbon dioxide. So same thing, if you wanted to change the name of those, pencil icon on the right hand side. So that's registering and seeing the loggers themselves. Now, if you wanted to see the data of the loggers, what you do is hover over Overview, hit Temp, if it's temperature you're looking for, and then you can see we're going to use front lab, for example. So the front lab temperature right now is 20.66 degrees. If you wanted to see the historical data of that particular logger, you click into this graph icon here, and here you can see how it's been over a 24-hour period. If you wanted to see the weekly view of how it's been for the week, click week, hit go, and there you can see the week. Same thing with month. And if you wanted to find out what the temperature was between a certain period of time, you can even choose the custom bar here. So you can choose whether it's going to be from the 16th to the, let's say, 16th to 24th, both from midnight, hit temperature, hit go, and there we go. We've got the temperature graph there. This doesn't have to be done per logger, per report. You can effectively choose multiple loggers. So just for that example, we're going to go main lab emergency logger, main lab emergency asset tag, offsite. Sorry, we're going to use offsite server, rental check, and here you go. And there we should get 3 trends, and you can see the alarm profile for the first 2. So yeah, we'll discuss alarm profile. We'll discuss alarms and that later on in the meeting. But there you can see multiple trends are shown. So just for this next example, I'm going to use one logger, and I'm going to do it on a daily view. And if you wanted to download this into an Excel spreadsheet, you can do so by hitting CSV at the bottom. And there, hopefully you can see this when I open it. It will just give you an average of where it was, the minimum, maximum temperature, the upper and lower limit, and when it exceeded or didn't exceed. Well, as you can see, it's not exceeded it's not exceeded or gone below the temperatures that the alarm's been set at. Now, as you can see, that's not exactly a detailed kind of timestamp of what the temperature was at what time. So to do that, we're going to go back, but for this example, just so you can see exactly what I'm doing, I'm going to go back from the exact same way I've come in. So overview and then temp. We're going to do the same thing with front lab. Now, instead of hitting the graph icon, I'm going to hit the table icon, which is just the right hand side. And this does give you an exact timestamp of what the temperature was at what time. And as I'm sure most of you know, it's a 5-minute login interval. So yeah, every 5 minutes you've got this time. Likewise, same thing can be done. Download to XLS. This particular route, you can only do it per logger. There is a way of basically having multiple loggers exported into a report, and I'll show you that later on in the meeting. So this one gives you a more in-depth view of what the temperature was at what time, and it has the serial numbers on there. So yeah, that's checking the data for the loggers. There might be something I've not covered, so temp RH as well. I know a lot of you don't use the RH feature, so you're only looking at temperature. But if you did want to look at the humidity as well, that can be done from this screen. So we can see we're going to choose a logger that is temperature and RH, which luckily enough front lab is. So we're going to show you how that looks. So there we can see the temperature, and then we're going to go to the top right here, change that from temperature to humidity. There we can see the humidity levels. And if we wanted to see them both on the same chart, we can choose temperature and humidity here. And the hatched is RH, and the temperature is the solid line.
Sorry, Phil, can I just ask a quick question there?
Sure.
We got our demo kit in last week. I haven't got the chance to play with it myself yet. The other guys have, but you said the logger interval was 5 minutes. Can that be decreased to less than that?
It can. I'm glad you asked that as well, to be fair, because we have to do that over here. Because if the login intervals do decrease, it will affect the battery life. So the standard login interval is every 5 minutes, and because of that, the battery life lasts 10 years. However, if you were to decrease it to 1 minute login interval, for example, and then not change it back, the battery life will be 2 years. So it does affect massively the life of the logger. However, we have had it before where customers need to be kind of 1 minute login intervals for a week, let's say, and that won't affect the battery life as much as if you were to only have it login per minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely worth noting that you can decrease the login intervals however frequent or long you do, or long you want, but it will affect the battery life.
And also can you stop and start the logger? So can you have it that it's not logging at all? And would that preserve the battery in that case?
We do usually put it in rest mode when it comes in for calibration. So when our rental loggers come in for come in after rental, because they're just sat on the shelf. There's no need for them to do that.
Yeah.
It will kind of help save battery life, and it is possible that you can do that. Whether it would be a good idea to keep stopping and starting, yeah, like I say, it will save battery. So if you know you've got a 6 month period where these loggers aren't going to be logging, then yeah, if you wanted to preserve a bit of battery, then you can just kind of put them in rest mode, as it were. And then as soon as you're ready to use them again, you basically take the logger from the cradle, leave it out for 10 minutes, and then plug it back in. And what that effectively does is there's a magnet inside the cradle and there's a magnet inside the logger. Once that's been disconnected and reconnected, that wakes it up. So yeah, in short, you can do that and leave it for a certain period of time if needs be.
And just one other quick question while we're on it was, are the batteries self-serviceable, or do they have to be sent back to you guys?
They have to be sent back.
They have to
They
be
are
sent.
encased within the logger themselves, and it's not even a case of replacing the battery. The unit itself would need to be replaced once the logger does
Yeah,
does deplete.
we use Veritech VLs, and it's the same issue with that as well. So I was just seeing
Right.
if these were different, but that's all good. That's fine.
Good. Right. Spot on. Yeah. So to be fair, I mean the SenseAnywhere are very good in the sense that if every logger we've sent back to them where the logging intervals haven't been changed and it's not lasted 10 years, they get RMA'd and they get replaced. They are very good in the sense that it's a minimum of 10 years these things should last, and if you go 5 years and then they deplete and then they've not changed the login interval, then they get it replaced free of charge. So they are good with that.
That's good.
Cool. So yes, the next probably point of call would be I know a lot of you will get your loggers calibrated through us, and if you do so, we upload these certificates to SenseAnywhere, and they are available to see whenever. So we're going to use, hopefully, Front Lab is calibrated, which it is. So if I was to highlight Front Lab so you can all see, and then hover over this icon here, which is a green certificate, it will tell me certificate valid until 27th of the 8th, 2022. If I was to have a look at the logger above, which isn't calibrated because it's got a red symbol, you'd see certificate expired 29th of the 8th, 2020. There is also one other logger, which hopefully we have one on file. There we go, perfect. So this blue logger, this blue certificate basically shows that there's a certificate of accuracy available. So this means that when SenseAnywhere carry out their own calibrations, it's not UCAS accredited. Only when it's UCAS accredited that you'll see that green symbol, that green certificate, because they carry out like a preliminary calibration when it leaves the factory, just before it leaves the factory. Sorry. Now, if you wanted to download this certificate of, this UCAS certificate, you can just click the certificate there. You can see there you've got your temperature and your humidity. So I'm going to click this one at the top, download, and there you can see your certificate calibration, when it was done, when it's valid to till, and then yeah, all the information will be there. But if you find that you obviously, if there's someone in the organisation who just emails us saying, could you please send over X and Y calibration certificate, we do that all the time, so that's fine. Cool. So we've gone through viewing the data. We've gone through registering your loggers. Next thing probably would be to add a user. So every time we set up a SenseAnywhere account, we add one primary user. And then if there are more people within their organisation, the best thing to do would be to add a user from management and then user. You can have plenty of users here because it's us. And we're going to go new user. Username can be anything. You don't need to basically, there's no kind of, it is case sensitive, but there are no kind of digits that you include that won't be allowed. So we're going to go test one, for example here, email address, put whatever email address you want. Likewise, with the mobile number, you don't need to put it in, but if you want SMS notifications to be sent, it is advised to put that in there, because basically you just only have to add it at a later point for that to be available. And you'll need to put in your country's code. So for us, it'll be 00447, etc. So yeah, the good thing is it says right there as you're inputting it. Time zone, a lot of it's 50-50. Sometimes it comes correct from Dublin, Edinburgh, Lisbon, London, but sometimes, because these things are made in Holland, it will come with the Holland timestamp. So as long as that's changed to the relevant one, that's perfect. Remark, you don't need to worry about that. If it basically means that there's a note on there that everyone else can see. So if test one only wanted to be contacted if an alarm is sent, you can put a remark there, so everyone within the organization can see, only contact this person if X or Y happens. First or last name, obviously self-explanatory. Now this is the important part. So the access, if you were to be the super admin, you have control over every part of the system. You can create alarms, you can modify reports, you can create users. The only thing you can't do is change login intervals, which we have to do, or you can't delete other super admins. You can delete every other user, but other super admins can't delete super admins. That's just something that we can do. So if you wanted this person to have rights over everything, super admin, if you wanted them to be able to access the management page, change the alarms, audits, or even reports, it's just admin rights. And then likewise, the admin rights only have views. They can only view the alarms. They can't kind of change anything. Alarm user, basically, they can see. Everyone can see the data. It's just if you want control over the full system, make sure you hit super admin rights. Create user at the bottom, and then once that's done, management user, they'll show up there. So yeah, that is registering a user. The next probably point of call, and the most important part, or sorry, the most kind of sought after part of the SenseAnywhere system, would be the alarm feature. Now, in short, you can set up excursion alarms. So if the temperature or humidity range was to go outside of your range, you can create an alarm to notify however many people within the organization that that's happened. So to do that, add new alarm profile. It's worth mentioning as well that if you were to create an alarm before your sensors are in the fridges, freezers, wherever they're going to be, you'll be notified as soon as you hit save. It's worth, if you've not already acclimatized your sensors to the fridges or freezers, disabling the alarm, setting it up, putting the sensors in the relevant place, waiting for it to acclimatize to whatever temperature it's going to be, and then going back into it and enable an alarm. So I'll run through setting up the alarm first, then go back into editing it. So test one again, continuous. There are basically, this means that you can have it 24/7 in continuous. Event being you're only notified certain parts of the day, or transport. It's because we're on, we've got an enterprise account. We can basically have notifications when a sensor reaches a certain spot, but we're not. It won't affect any of you, I don't think. So we want continuous. For this particular test, we're going to do temperature. Select whichever loggers you want, so you can have multiple loggers per alarm report. Upper and lower limit, we're going to do 2 and 8. And the delay button, this is it's definitely worth talking about, because sometimes a lot of fridges or freezers, for example, have defrost settings, and if the temperature was to go outside of its range for 5 seconds or 5 minutes, for example, you don't want to be notified every time that happens, because twice a day you'll be getting an email, and then the thing that is inside, the stuff that's inside the fridge is still fine. It's not going to be. It's fine basically. So we want a 30-minute delay in which the temperature would need to be below or above that spec for 30 minutes before anyone's alerted. And then the number of reminders is just how many kind of alerts are sent per time. So after every hour, you'll receive 1 reminder, 2 reminders, or no reminders. I'm fine with just the 1 email, so I'm going to stick no reminders on there. But however many users want to receive that through here. SMS notification, I'm fine with just the email, so I'm not going to select anyone for the SMS, and then just hit save at the bottom. Like I said, I'm not going to hit save because obviously it's just a test. Now, once that's been done, if you then realise, oh, I need to go and change the parameters, or I need to activate the alarm, you go back into here with the pencil icon on the right hand side, hit enable alarm, do all your modifications that you want, and then hit save. So that is setting the alarms. Now, to see the see what alarms have been running, alarm alert log, that'll tell you exactly what alarm's been going on when, and then there's even a feature where you can create a note next to that. So highlight whichever alarm you want to basically notify. You can save them, and you can create notes in there as well and download them to Excel or PDF. Okay, good stuff. So that is the alarms. Now, some of you also want to create reports. So every day, week, or month, you can get reports sent out to you, to multiple people within the organisation, or even people outside of the organisation. So to do that, management, report. And then we've only got 1 daily report, so I'm just going to create a new schedule. It's very straightforward. Schedule name, test 1. This is going to be a temperature only. And for this example, we're going to do humidity. Frequency, we want a weekly report sent over to myself and Mike. We're going to select CO2. No, we need a, I suppose it doesn't really matter. Main laboratory. Aggregated report, we don't need to worry about that. That just basically gives you a more detailed report. So it will tell you exactly what time the report, it will always tell you what time the report is sent, but this just gives you a more in-depth kind of report to when that's sent. Time zone, you always want that to be London, Edinburgh, Dublin. Additional emails, this can be anyone outside your organisation as well. So if you wanted it to go to your personal email address as well, that can be inputted. You don't need to be a user on the system for that to happen. And yes, so that's once that's done, you hit save, which I'm not going to do because this is just a test, and then that report will be visible from this screen. So management and report, that's how they're done. So yeah, other than that, there are a few features that SenseAnywhere offer, but just as a kind of baseline, that is what the system has to offer. Now I'm going to kind of unmute everyone if I can. I'm not the most technologically astute person of all time, but if there are any kind of questions that other people have, please feel free to ask. Is there anything that anyone needs to know at this stage?
In terms of the output, so you're obviously able to export into CSV. So is that adaptable in any way? I suppose from our point of view, what we were hoping to use the system for is mapping our clients' chambers as part of a 17025 mapping.
Yeah.
And is there any kind of selectable or changeable parts of that CSV export, or is it just a flat out binary, export, if you know what I mean, or is it interchangeable?
The good thing is with mapping, there is a separate feature for mapping. So
Okay.
SenseAnywhere I'm going to send you after this meeting. I'll send you over a. We've basically run a test mapping report for a few of our sensors, and you do have. It's a very good looking document where you get. It's not just a kind of an Excel to spreadsheet sort of thing. It will show you the graph. It will show you the full timestamp of each logger. It will even show you, if you wanted to input them, the pictures of where these sensors are inputted. And it is a very, very good looking sort of report. We've had many good reviews from the mapping side of things, but that does come at a cost. It's basically 0.2 credits per logger per report. So effectively, a credit is £15, and if you have five 5 loggers for 1 report, it'll be £15 per report, basically.
Okay.
But I'm going to send you an email over with our test mapping report. So yeah, you don't have to just use the Excel one for that. But this is just a free version if you wanted to kind of have an internal document that this is what the sensors were, sort of thing.
Okay, so if you wanted to kind of beef your report, you just use a credit for that as such, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we can either, I mean, you can kind of place the loggers where they need to be, run the report. We can run the mapping report on this side, input all the data and stuff like that. So yeah, because we do mapping all the time, and in terms of, it can't just be from the Excel spreadsheet. It does have to come through a kind of an official SenseAnywhere mapping report, and you have your company logo at the top right in like a watermark sort of thing. But yeah, I've made a note to send it over to you.
But you can export to CSV as well, though. That's available. Yeah, if you could possibly send that over as well, so you can see what it was like. As I said, I haven't had a chance to play with it, so maybe I can see that myself when I get around to having a look at it.
Of course, yeah, that's fine, no problem at all. There is a more in-depth way of exporting, actually. So what I just showed you in terms of the downloaded CSV for the data over a certain period of time, that is the quick and easy, simple way of doing it. There is also a data export, which is, it's nowhere near as clean cut as the mapping report, but this also doesn't cost anything. So I'm going to show you one of our sample reports. Hopefully it is just an internal one. If it's not, I'm going to have to quickly turn off the screen. But yes, so this would be the sample report of one of our loggers, or a few of our loggers, sort of thing. So as you can see here, it's a more in-depth structured thing. Basically, this is what the time was, this is what the temperature was, and you can have 1 million samples per report. So as you can see, that it's very extensive, but it's not as clean cut as the mapping report, and it's not designed around mapping. So I'll send you, I'll send you basically an email with everything on there, just so you can see.
That's perfect. Yeah, I suppose from our point of view, we have our own bespoke software, and we're using validators ourselves, and we use the Veritex. I said, but we do a raw data export from those systems, and our systems are able to read a CSV, and we produce our 17025 certs from that. So, but we can look at, I can look at that myself anyway. I can come back to you if you have any kind of questions on that. So
yeah, sure, that's fine. That's fine. Obviously, we need to arrange a separate meeting after it's all kind of discussed. That's I'm totally fine with that, definitely. Yeah.
Just one other question I had then, Phil, was in terms of the calibration, so the annual calibration that would be done on the actual probes themselves, is that possible? So with ourselves, we calibrate our Veritex, and we get you guys over to do our validators for us. But is it possible for us to do calibration of the SenseAnywhere units?
Unfortunately, it's a rule from SenseAnywhere.
Is
We have to do it. Yeah. I think we are the only kind of UK calibration lab for SenseAnywhere. Whether it's a quality concern or whether it's just I've always been taught that it has to be us.
No, that's fine, because we
Unfortunately.
have another systems that we have, and I understand that. Like, obviously, it's it gets rid of some money or some chance for you to earn a bit of money on it as well. But I suppose we're looking at kind of any systems we buy multiple amounts of them, so it just brings our cost down if we can do those calibrations in house ourselves. But it's just that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, no, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I can ask the question, but I think every time, because that question has come up a few times, and it is just always a case of we need to be the ones that are calibrating it, not just for the kind of monetary side, but yeah, on a quality point of view. Yeah, I understand it is a cost incurred that you like to kind of preserve, and if you do it in house, then obviously that cost can be brought down. But yeah, it's just always been a rule that I know of that it has to be us from Sense.
We're all in the real world. We know this. We know the situation. Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly.
That's fine. Yeah.
Nice.
We've enough to be doing ourselves, to be calibrating customers' chambers and stuff than doing. But we've quite a lot of equipment at the moment, and we've a big workshop, so we do them ourselves. It works well for us, but I understand that's not always possible. So
that's fair play. Thanks for that. That's good for understanding anyway, because it's it's always
it's a sticky one.
It's a tough question to answer sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, is anything else anyone else would like to ask? No worries. Well, if there's anything burning that anyone wants to ask at a later date, if there's anything about the main features of SenseAnywhere that I've not covered there, please don't hesitate to give us a call or drop us an email. Like I said, I'll send that test mapping report out to yourself when we finish this meeting. But if anyone would like to run through, because I know that's just scratching the surface of what SenseAnywhere offer. There are a lot more features that they can do, but I don't want to kind of overload you all with information at this stage anyway. However, if there's anything that you can think of at a later date, don't hesitate to give us a call or drop us an email, and I'll be sure to get back to you with that.
That's brilliant. No, it's great for me seeing it, because it's actually better for me to see it like in Virgin. I haven't seen it at all, so to see it actually fresh from you is better for me. So it kind of I can go off, have a little play with it now with confidence then, instead of scratching the head. So I know that's brilliant. Thanks a million for that, Phil.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Well, thanks all for joining. Like I said, if you need out, just give us a shout. And yeah, hopefully that's answered all your questions.
Excellent. Thanks a million, Phil.
Always
See you
take
again.
care.
Bye bye. Bye bye.